Ladies and gentlemen, we got Duke Lucas in the building. It's Aquarian Anarchy. It's our first guest in a while. We are ready to get it. It's about to be a race war in here. No, I'm just joking. But maybe it is. I don't know. Let's see. Here we go.
Got the white guys on the right.
Let's
Black
go.
guys on the left.
Quote for tonight is from Henry David Thoreau. Disobedience is the true foundation of liberty. The obedient must be slaves. Damn, Marcus just coming off the top rope right there. Okay, all right. I see how it is. Damn.
Faux show.
Sick. All right, well, we already introduced him, but we're going to introduce him again because why not? That's what we do here. You have seen him. Well, maybe you haven't, but most people have on Twitter. He's one of my favorite follows. One of the favorite people that I have that I can go back and forth with, and we just kind of crack on each other and also support each other because we're both I don't know how you would describe it, Duke. I'll just let you describe like what you consider yourself as, because Marcos was asking me like he doesn't have Hotep in his name, but he kind of kicks it with the Hoteps and everything. Like, where do you consider yourself fall in that? And by the way, welcome to the show, Duke Lucas.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I guess you Hotep adjacent, but Christian. But I get along with like different, groups of people. Hoteps happen to be, one of my favorite groups to interact with. And I think Uncle Hotep, I came to contact with Uncle Hotep first. And then Hotep Jesus. And then I just started following people that were in the chat. So I ran into folks like you, Brody, and just people like that from there.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
So
go ahead, Marcus.
What's your basic, like, you said you're Christian, that's cool. What's your, like, would you call yourself like politically? I'm trying to get a feel for you because I've actually followed you for some time, but often it's just laughing at this that or whatever. But what would you call yourself? Conservative, libertarian, anarchist? What are you?
Man, I hate to tell you the truth. I hate to call myself conservative, but that's what I guess you would say I align with the conservatives. But I don't like the term because they don't actually conserve anything. But I get along with a lot of the conservative. But if you had to ask my political party, I was just like, man, I'm Christian, so I'm gonna whatever lines up with the Bible. That's what I'm gonna go with. Whether it's conservative, liberal, whatever.
Cool.
Well, with your Christian values and beliefs, were they given to you by your parents, or is this something that you picked up on the way of life?
I thought I was Christian when I was first born until around, I think I was around 25. Then I got to know God for myself. And then, so that's about 10 years. And I've just been in my word and prayer, and I've grown that way because the Bible says you must be born again. So I don't believe a real Christian can you can't be born Christian. You have to be born again into Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say I've been born again.
Okay.
Sure. So what do you think about the world right now? What's going on with everything, man?
Man, it's a mess. My biggest headache now is just, it seems like, I don't even know if it's half the country. It's just, at least in the media, you got half the people fighting for Palestine, half the people fight for Israel. And I don't know a lot about it. And I'm pretty sure most of the people that are out up front don't know what they're really fighting for.
Mm-hmm.
And you got gas prices, food prices, everything shooting up. I'm still holding out hope for the country, but it's not looking good. But I'm not the type to give up when things get dark. I just do my little bit. I think people should take care of, instead of trying to save the world, they should try to first save the household, then maybe your neighborhood, and then let that spread from there. But I think too many people trying to jump out and try to save the world, and they either burn out or something like that. It's
I mean,
fool's dream.
they have too much access to the world. If you think about it, You know, somebody in the cell phone would be able to talk to somebody who's quote unquote in Palestine or quote unquote in Israel and have certain points other than, you know, the regular people and what we get from the media and stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel you on that one.
Yeah, there's a famous Islamic thinker. His name is Rumi. He was a Sufi, which is a sect of Islam. He said, yesterday I was clever, so I thought I would save the world. Today I'm wise, so I'm fixing myself.
I like that one. You got to sweep around your own front door before you sweep around somebody else's.
For sure. For sure.
There's also one that I read. I don't remember who it was. It was some rabbi who said, it's like, when I was younger, I admired clever people, but now that I'm older, I admire kind people. And
I like that too.
There's some of that stuff where some of this can be real easy to get caught up in people trying to like outsmart the system, outsmart the world, and all this stuff. And then you really boil down what it's getting at, and it's just about like trying to put themselves in the position of the people who they envy or who they are angry with or whatever. And it's like, that's why you see a lot of the stuff with the politics stuff where it's like, these people did some bad stuff, so now we have the power. Let's do some bad stuff to them to get them back for what they did to us. And it's like, man, this is how the world goes blind with that eye for an eye BS. And I've seen a lot of it where there were some folks who were talking about, this is not me saying that I think like pedophilia is good or anything like that, but there's a whole period of time where the timeline was full of people posting wood chipper memes and all this kind of stuff. It's like, okay, so what we're going to do is all the degenerates, we're going to put them all in a wood chipper. So then all that's going to be left in the world is murderers.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're gonna murder all the degenerates so that all there's left is murderers. Oh, okay.
So then therefore we have to throw ourselves in a wood chipper.
Right, exactly. So I'm saying that's at some point, if you're not busy working on the plank that's in your eye, you don't need to be bothering with the speck that's in your neighbor's eye. And it can be too easy for us to get caught up in that. But that's enough of the pleasantries. I'm ready right now. I've been planning for this. This is a setup. I've been waiting for this moment.
Set black people up.
Ever since.
I know, right?
I ain't participating in this racist nonsense Chad's got going on.
You're definitely participating.
And then he put us both on the left side.
You feel me?
Y'all on the left. Y'all on the left. Like, it's the Democratic plantation. It's no. All right. So I don't know that there's anybody else who does it more than you and Jeff Charles. But for some reason there's like not so much with you recently, but Jeff is still like very much on it. But there was this tendency to post weird, outlandish, extreme sports or animal events or whatever, and ask the rest of us if it's white people activities. So I'm ready. I hope the world is ready. It is time for
black people activity.
Top 5. Everybody, y'all have got to come up with your top 5 white people activities. And since you are the guest tonight, Duke Lucas, you go first. What are the top 5 white people activities that you have seen on the timeline?
On the
timeline. Don't necessarily give them in order, but you got to give us 5. But it would be cool if they were in order.
I'm not sure of the order, but I would say the first one at least is playing with dangerous animals like lions, bears, alligators.
You see the one with the dude from Louisiana he's like doing like this on the side of the interstate with the alligator, and the alligator just bit him, got a hold of him, and he's like trying to get him.
I missed that, or that would have definitely been put on the timeline.
Just to be clear,
right, so dangerous stuff with animals. What else?
All right, number 2. It has to be something with like. No, I got 2. Exploring. I don't know if this is cave, the cave diving thing where you can barely fit. It's like spaces you barely fit. And I'm pretty sure God made it a tight space because he didn't want us going there. But the white people are like, all right, I'm gonna go there.
Dude, I took my fat ass through one of those caves one time when I was younger. Fuck all that. I don't care. I must have become black in the cave because I'm like, fuck that shit. I got stuck. I was like, fuck all this. I'm gonna go home. I'm not
But
playing.
you heard what he said though. He tried it.
Oh, I did.
He didn't stand back and say, nah, man, y'all got it.
Right. I crawled my ass
I'm gonna
through
stay
this
back here and
thing.
watch.
Yeah, it was awful. Why you would want to do that, I have no idea. My knees hurt by the time I was done.
We got dangerous animal shit. We got cave diving. What else we got?
Man, I saw one to what was it? The guy, he was it's not ripcorded. Bungee, he
bungee jumping?
Yeah, but it was dark. It was pitch black.
Oh, like spelunking?
I don't know what you, that's
bungee jumping in the dark, man.
Wait, what was that?
What's spelunking? That sounds like white people activity.
Spelunking.
We don't got that.
It's a mixture of the two things of your number 2 and your number 3, where it's like you're like rappelling down into a cave, and
oh like, yeah, that's definitely white people. Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all have lights? Is there lights included? Or
no, it's dark as fuck, dude.
It's the adrenaline
light,
rush?
Man. We supply our own light.
That's right.
Gets you guys,
we just put a flashlight on our face.
You're like, wow. That's what we're looking for.
All right.
Although it could probably reflect the entire moon on my ass.
So bungee jumping / spelunking. You seen the ones where they have those people that they actually they base jump or whatever. They'll jump like
and they
go to these caves, and then they'll find a spot and they'll jump into the hole, and then just like fall, and then pull the parachute.
Yeah.
In a cave.
It looks thrilling, but I can't do it. I got a wife and kids. I got to protect them.
Do you do amusement parks or anything like that?
I do Six Flags. I don't even really like Disneyland. The line's too long. But I'll do roller coasters. I was gonna say skateboard. I didn't do skateboard. I like watching and I stand on skateboard. I can't even do that. I like the thrill seek from afar. Like every time I try something, I end up getting hurt or putting my life in danger. We were doing a rope swing into a creek in Athens, and I was good the first 2 tries, but the second time I swung and you can't hesitate. So I hesitated and I swung and almost ran into the rock. I had it on video, but I can't find it anymore. Damn. But I try to leave the white folks activities to the white folks. I don't have that thrill-seeking bone in my body anymore, like when I was 18. And then when you get older, the pain, it don't heal as quick as it used to. You know what I mean? Something that would take a week, it takes like 3 weeks.
I do this thing where I was telling somebody about it at work today, talking about staying in shape and stuff, like, because my wife was like, I don't understand. You don't do anything to deserve your legs to look like your legs look. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I still sprint up the stairs every day. And I skip like 3 stairs at a time. So, like, what are you talking about? Well, this is a couple of years ago. I was doing that. I'm just running up the stairs like I normally do. I missed one.
Oof.
I caught myself like that. Bro, my wrist hurt for like 6 months. Nothing was broken or anything like that. It was just like, you're old. This shit that would have been healed in a week and a half when you were 18, it's going to take 6 months now. So that's just how it is.
What I tell my kids, like, you watch these like fail armies and bullshit like that on YouTube. I asked my daughter, I said, you know what that's called in my life? She was like, what's that? I said, the day before my funeral. Because I ain't recovering from that shit. That ain't gonna happen.
All right, so we got dangerous animal activities. We have
spelunking,
bungee jumping. Well, no, but before that was the cave diving.
Yeah, exploring very small caves.
Yeah, exploring caves, tight spaces, all that kind of stuff. So Duke just said he's claustrophobic. All right, I get it.
Then he said,
so I get.
bungee jumping in the dark.
Yeah, bungee jumping in the caves or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, so maybe we can just do 3. I don't know. Like it's fireworks don't show up anywhere on this list, or do you? Do
I was gonna say if I had to pick a 4th one, it was gonna be something with cheese. I know white people love cheese.
Dude, that's my favorite food.
Like I even saw the event where they're racing wheel of cheese down the hill. That's the thing. They even chase the cheese.
I got a dude I work with. It doesn't matter where we go. He's always looking. He always looks to see if they got cheese curds on the menu. I'm like, your body's damn near made of cheese now, man. Chill.
Yep. Yeah, for the longest time, I said that macaroni and cheese was my favorite food, and I was wrong. It didn't have a goddamn thing to do with that macaroni.
Cheese.
Marcus proving stereotypes right. Live on air. All right. So, all right. So you got any more, or is that it? Or
That's all I can think of now. If I got any more, I'll post them on your timeline.
All right. Anybody in the chat? Anybody in the chat, or Nicco or Marcus? Y'all got one?
Wait. Did white people come up with skydiving? Like black people wouldn't be like, let's jump out of a perfectly working plane. Like
I don't know. See, that's a thing. So I'm glad you said that, because that brings me to the conclusion of this. So that concludes the top 5 list, even though it was only 4. Is that the statement that Nicco just made is some bullshit racist ass. Here's what happens. So you heard what Nicco just said. It's like, I don't know, did white people invent jumping out of planes? Because that's not something black people do, unless it becomes really hype and everybody falls in love with it and becomes a thing that everybody does. Then all of a sudden we will find out that 7,000 years ago the ancient Egyptians invented it.
For sure.
They were already flying in planes, as a matter of fact, and they were jumping out of them.
They did find helicopters on the.
I'm just waiting for when we find the old hieroglyphs on the caves of people, of rednecks lighting bottle rockets and sticking them in their ass and then lighting their ass on fire. That's one that if y'all haven't ever seen that one on the timeline, holy cow, man, that shit was. There's some crazy stuff that people do.
He's
lost
back.
Duke.
No, he's back.
No, we're good. We're good.
Oh, okay. All right, he just dipped out for a second. Yeah, I've actually seen people do some shit like that where they think they're being funny, and then next thing you know, that dude's nuts are lit on fire.
What about snowboarding? Black people don't like the cold. So
no, we don't.
Snowboarding? That sounds like sandboarding. We made. You feel me? Sandboarding for black people. Snowboarding.
Dude, I got to tell you, I watched a thing yesterday. It was either yesterday or day before on YouTube. That was a fucking. They were doing the Darwin Awards, the shit that removes people, and some asshole, you were saying, because this is exactly what was on the thing. Some asshole thought it'd be a good idea to, like you said, launch a firework out of his ass. He put the wrong goddamn end in his ass.
Oh my god!
So he blew his ass up.
That sounded like that was on purpose. He knew it.
I did see that one. There's that one video online of that. It's a black guy, and he stuck a black cat in his eye and lit it.
Why would you?
Yeah, I was
surprised when the shit blinded him. I'm like, bro, you just blew up your eye.
Was he country or was he? Like,
I don't know.
He was raised in a white neighborhood.
He did like this in his eyelid and blew his eye up. And I was like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah, I saw that one. We don't claim that one. We don't claim it.
I guess that's. Would it be cultural appropriation for white people to not claim some of the white people stuff that they do? Because I got to give y'all that one. That was a good one to come up with. No, we don't claim that one. Like you just get to defer. Like that's not one of ours.
I just claim not to be a white guy. I am blue from the waist down. I'm half Smurf today, and I'm just not a white dude. I'm a dwarf. It is what it is.
Okay. Marcus also appropriated a whole religion from black people, so like that's
for sure. I did.
You ever met a white voodoo man?
Nah, that be the first one.
Yeah. Well, I culturally appropriated the fuck out of it, so it is.
Well, you got your white roster, so
that is.
Steph Colonel said black folks jumping out of planes is cultural appropriation. So I guess that's
For sure.
If you say so, man, I'm just telling you, like there's some
I don't think
glider.
we didn't have the opportunity to be like, hey, it'd be a great idea if we jumped out this plane. Black people decide to stay on the land as much as possible, unless we're jumping for a basketball or something like that. But other than that, I did that.
You're being more racist than I was going to be. Damn.
The thing is, there's facts to that shit, though. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I just didn't get it because white people went through all the trouble to create the airplane. You got the Wright brothers in the invention, and the first thing white people did once they invent the plane is like, you know what, it'd be good. Let's jump out of it. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
Well, I think it didn't start that way. I think it started with, hey, what if we can sense that the plane's going down, and then we can jump and save ourselves while the plane goes down. All right, now let's practice. And then all of a sudden the practice turns into let's do tricks while we're practicing. And now you have a whole sports of this shit.
See,
now you got people who jump out of the plane with no parachute and wait for somebody to
golf. That's a black people. That's not a black people thing.
It's not called golf, bro. It's called disc golf.
That's right. It's frisbee golf.
All right. It's not frisbees though. There's actual like frisbee golf discs.
It sounds like froth. I start thinking about Rick Santoro.
Yes, I am white. I have played disc golf, and I do have a set of golf discs somewhere in my garage. I have a carrying bag for them and everything.
What kind of shoes do you wear?
Yeah, just regular tennis shoes. I mean,
Chad, does this mean you're whiter than I am?
I don't know. I guess maybe. but no, I got like I think I have 2 putters and like a couple of drivers and like a bunch of different mid-range stuff. You got to be able to curve it left, curve it right, throw it straight, whatever. Because there's like
the terms for it. Any terms? Any terms?
Terms?
Yeah, like a par 4 or anything like that.
That's just golf terms. No, but do you know what the hole is called on a golf course, on a disc golf course?
I feel like you're gonna tell me.
It's just called the chain. Because it's just a basket with chains on it, and the chains like catch the disc and drop it in.
That sounds racist.
Oh shit!
Do you know what it's called? It's called a chain. And if you overextend it, it's called a whip.
I was gonna say. I was searching for some way to into it. Yeah. No shit though. Like I know you. So you have your handle as Red Dirt Duke now. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. So Georgia, now it makes sense. I never played baseball in Georgia, but I did play in like Mobile, Alabama, so close enough. And if I still had those socks, they would still have red dirt stains in them from the tournaments that we played over there. But I did. So just so you know, like. I know I'm white, but I had wheels. All right, I stole home on a wild pitch one time. Like I was at second, and I was taking off for third. The ball went to the backstop. I scored all the way. Never even I beat the catcher. Didn't even make the throw. So I'm just saying, that's how I got I slid anyway, because I didn't know where the ball was. So a
parachute was created by a white man.
What did you say?
The parachute was created by a white man.
Parachute was created by a white man.
I am deeply shocked.
How long after the plane was invented did it take to create the parachute?
Hold on, wait. Now we got
parachute.
I'm pretty sure it went long.
The parachute was created in October 22nd, 1797.
Ooh. So it was before the
airplane. Yeah.
These motherfuckers were like, one day.
They were already base jumping.
I was going to say, but this is the thing. White people plan ahead. We're like, you know what? We're going to invent this plane one day. We got to be ready to jump out of it.
We just invented America. Now it's time to have parachutes because we're going to have to invade brown people's countries eventually.
So let's get into a little bit. I've had my fun. That was I had to do it because that was a fun time going through the white people activities era of Twitter, which Jeff is still trying to keep alive. He'll just post some pictures of random stuff of like a snake, and he's like, "Hey, don't play with this snake." And I'm like, "Bro, chill. Like, there's not even a video of somebody getting eaten by the snake. Like, this isn't. You're reaching now." He's
Mhm.
I don't know. They got pictures of Putin on a bear, dude.
Yeah, for real, right? And that was a great one. That one video, I think you posted it, or maybe you retweeted it, of the guys, the Russian guys. And they're like, one dude is like punching a bag, and while he's punching the bag, like the bear is pushing a branch up and down, and he's having to like dip under the branch and everything, and he's punching. Oh my god, that was the funniest shit ever. Like, it just looks like a regular boxing workout video until you see that the bear is the one who's pushing the branch up and down. It's like, what the hell am I watching? They just trained a bear. It's like, hey man, you go push that. Oh my god.
How do you domesticate a bear to do any of that? Like, to be wrestling with the bear and like.
So this is crazy. I actually was one of the, I think it's Saint Gabriel, the Fool for Christ, who he was like, one of the things that he's known for is like animals would just come up to him, and like bears and lions and stuff like that would just come up to him and just like lay at his feet. And it was like, because he was projecting this, like the original plan for man was that like we were the ones made in God's image and likeness, and we were meant to have like dominion over the animals, but not in a way, not in like a tyrannical way, but more in like they would just kind of like the way that you respect your dad, you know, like, and if your dad is a loving dad, he just kind of takes care of you, and you respect him and you revere him because you know that he knows more shit than you do, and he's going to take care of you and help you. Well, the animals, that's how our relationship was supposed to be. But then the fall happens, and then it's just, we're at odds with nature and everything from that point on. But I bet there are some people who probably exhibit something along those lines where they're just like not afraid, because a lot of that just comes from, if they can sense fear, like the pheromones that you give off and the vibration that you give off and everything, they're just like, nope, I think you have just raised the tension level in this situation. So then they turn into a damn cop at that point. And they're like, stop resisting. And then they need to beat your ass. So, but if you're cool, the bear just senses like, oh no, this dude's cool. And I don't know. I don't know if you have to domesticate it or if there's some people who just got it. I think Siegfried and Roy had it for a while until they didn't.
Dude, at this point, I got to tell Ben's. We have a friend named Ben's bear story. So, all right, Ben's a major guy in the Libertarian Party, particularly in Texas, but he's a friend of both Chad and I's. And so this dude is apparently like trying to get somebody from like Washington State to run for office or something like that. I don't remember where it was. Long story short, the dude had a circus bear that he had rescued that he owned, right? So they're all over at this dude's house, and then they're getting drunk, because if you knew Ben's an alcoholic. So they're all drinking real hard, you know, and getting all fucked up, and they ran out of beer. So they're like, how are we going to get beer? We can't drive. You know, they were with it enough to realize they couldn't drive to go get the beer. And so the guy had a bright idea. The bear can drive. So they climb into this fucking truck, getting into the back of the truck. The bear climbs behind them because it was a circus bear and it knew how to drive the fucking car. And it drives into town to get the beer. And they go in, get the beer. The bear jumps out, gets in the front, and then drives them the fuck back home. True story. Happened to our buddy Ben. Can you imagine being a pig that pulled this bear over? Like,
see, like that's one of those things where you hear and you don't have to tell me the race of the person. Like automatically, like you just automatically know in your head. You're like, okay, he's definitely not black. He could be Hispanic, but probably not.
100%.
Oh shit! I knew as soon as he started to say that, I was like, oh, he's gonna say he knows their work.
Setting him up for a try.
Yeah, I wish they would got it on video.
Oh, 100%, dude. I'm not as good at telling the story as Ben was. He had me in tears, but still.
Well,
funny.
I mean, I don't remember all the details because I wasn't there, and I don't know how he remembers them because apparently
it's Ben and he embellished.
Significantly shit faced. Yeah. All right, so let's get into some of the more I don't know, I guess interesting or challenging topics of the day. Like, so you got World War III about to pop off. You got inflation going crazy. You have somebody who belongs in like a nursing home pretending to be president, and you have, I don't know, all kinds of other crazy shit and a shit show of a Republican primary system leading up to it. This is what the timeline is filled with. But what do you spend your time like on when you're not dealing with that stuff?
You talking to me or?
Yeah, no, to you.
Oh,
yeah.
No, I've been trying to stay away from politics. I used to be like, over the past like year, I was consuming myself with it, but felt like it was draining me. So now I'm just mostly focused on like family stuff. I have a friend who he owns a farm, 50 acres. And so I go to his house every once in a while, and I'm just trying to learn that myself because, in the future I'd like to have some, not that much, but I'm just trying to grow in things that'll enhance myself spiritually, mentally, physically, working out, reading more books. I've been slacking on my book reading, but reading more books, listening to more like podcasts that aren't surrounded by politics and sports. Although I still do it, just to stay up to date. But other than that, I'm gonna do more stuff outside. Hopefully in the future. It's getting a little cold now, but that's mostly what I've just been doing.
How cold is it in Georgia though? Like, what is it, like 58, 60 degrees? 75?
Yeah, anything below 69 is cold to me. I'm the first one with a jacket on, the last one with a
We're out here and it's like 40 degrees and we're like, I think it's time to start putting on our flannels. We don't even put on jackets.
Yeah.
When the snow starts to drop, that's when we have a little bit of, all right, jacket weather. Now, when the winter goes away and it's like the springtime, my dad would actually go to Georgia and he'd be telling me the weather. And I'm like, you're not dealing with what I have to deal with, Dad. So, please keep all the weather comments to yourself. Thank you.
I'll tell you what, Duke, I think you're on the right track with, I have a garden. I actually have 3 gardens and relatively large gardens. And I find that working with the earth, you're going to get a lot of like meaningful thought out of that. I really think you're going to find that that's going to be a really good place, particularly if you marry that with your faith and start looking at how God's trying to teach you things through the soil, try to teach you how to run your life through how plant life works. I think you're going to find that is something when you said that's going to take you a place, man. To me, that's how you get to that. When you have the right mindset, like you're talking about, where you're focusing on your family, fuck all this political nonsense, and you're trying to get your own life set into play. That's the direction that takes you to freedom, in my opinion. And I think that you're going to find that the lessons that you learn from the soil are going to be absolutely invaluable for not only your thought patterns and how you think about things, but also how you spiritually think about things, because God gave us it all in nature. It's right there.
Yeah, one of my favorite philosophers of all time, Peter Kraft, who we talked about back when we did our founding fathers or whatever of philosophy, he says that nature and scripture have the same author. And so it's impossible not to learn some of that stuff in a different way, in a very like incarnational way. Like a lot of the other stuff we can get too much in our heads where we're just trying to like know stuff. And sometimes it's to be able to like debate somebody with it or whatever. And it's like, no, like some of this stuff, the feeling it and experiencing it is as vital as reading about it or anything like that, because if you're listening, it'll speak to you. So
facts.
That's one thing I love about being a father too. It helps me understand like the relationship between God and myself.
Oh, for sure.
So
yes, absolutely.
So that's why, like, anytime like I snap at the kids or just like, sometimes, you might get angry. I try not to. I try to be more forgiving and more patient. That's what I'm trying to be. And like the so-called flaws, the perceived flaws I saw in my parents, I try to do the opposite of that. Mostly my dad. Me and him, we didn't have a good relationship growing up, but we're good now.
Mm-hmm.
So I just try to improve on that in any way I possibly.
I agree with you. The more I've looked at what I've done with my kids, and I think I'm a fair dad, but man, I don't got shit on God.
Right. Well, yeah. So give me an example. Like what's an example of something where like your kid's done something or said something or something like that, or maybe you've I don't know, where you realize that you overstepped your bounds and you had to kind of back off a little bit or whatever. Like give me an example of where you got a real sense of like, okay, now I know how God gets kind of fed up with my bullshit,
Well, no, it's just like I want to say, like, how kids will do something and try to hide or lie like you just didn't watch them do what you saw them do.
Sure.
And I did think about how, like, when we sin and we try to, instead of running to God, it's like, forgive me, we try to hide like he's not all knowing, all seeing, like he saw what you did. And he's willing to forgive you. Like I tell my kids, I was like, hey, even if you mess up, don't lie to me, because I already know. Like, just come to me. You may still get in trouble. There may still be repercussions, but I would rather you come to me and tell me the truth than try to hide from me. Because eventually, everything done in the dark gonna come to the light anyway. If I don't know now, I'm gonna find out later. And it's like just the same way, like how when Adam and Eve, they tried to hide their nakedness. He saw you, and then he asked him. He was like, "What did?" He was like, "Where are you?" And then they were like, "We're naked." And he was like, "Who told you were naked?" Like, it's just you can't lie, you can't hide. And so I'm trying to work on that. Just trying to be, like I said earlier, be more patient, because I know God is patient with me. I often know the right thing to do, and you just still just do the opposite, or you just refuse to do what he's asking you to do. And sometimes that way with kids, it's just like, you're supposed to do your homework, or you're supposed to do what you know how to do your classwork, but you still don't do it. So I see myself in my kids a lot, but I don't know if that's a good explanation, but that's think of.
That's good. That's good. And yeah, and I wanted to kind of the next, I guess the second part of that same question was, oh shit, I didn't realize. See this damn chair, I can't sit back. Like my neck starts hurting. I gotta sit back, and then I like fall out of frame. Yeah. This chair is like a damn recliner. Anyway, it's the worst office chair. Don't go to this hotel room. Anyway, no. So like you were talking about like your relationship with your dad, and like how you see certain things with your parents, and how you try to do things differently. But like, so when you see some of that stuff, like what's something where you see like, okay, my kid's doing this, this reminds me of me, and my parents responded this way, and that didn't work for me, and it actually kind of like did the opposite of maybe what they wanted it to do. So I'm going to do this. Like, what's something like that where you've seen it? Because I experienced that a lot myself, where I'm trying very hard to not do and say some of the same things that my parents said, because I know how I received it. And it wasn't good. It did not do what they wanted it to do. It actually probably made me want to do whatever I was doing more.
Yeah.
Or do what they wanted me to do less, So.
Well, one thing I try to do different from my parents, like my son, my daughter too, but he's older. So he's very perceptive. He's like me when I was a kid, and my parents, they would lie to me about stuff. They think, they think, oh, he's a kid, I shouldn't, but like, there's a lot of stuff I saw go on or heard, but they didn't know I knew, that they still don't know I know. So I try not to lie to my kids ever, because eventually that's gonna come back and they're gonna ask me, or they're gonna be like, well, how do you tell the truth here? Because you lied here. That's one thing. My mom, like, mostly live with well, I did live with my mom. My dad, you know, he was off somewhere else for a while. My mom, she would be, you know, being single mothers, you know, sometimes they had that attitude. So she was quick to yell, quick to spank, you know, stuff like that. I try not to do that as much. Like my kids, they I don't like they rarely get out of line to where I feel like the need to spank them. And then usually, like if I do it, like I'll spank them on the butt a couple times, and then they won't get out of line for like another 4, 5, 6 months to where I feel like I'd have to do anything like that. But other than that, that's probably all I can think of at the moment. Try not to lie. Try not to be quick. Try to be slow to anger. Because my and then like my dad, I know my dad loves me, but he doesn't know how to he didn't express it when I was older, but now like today now we, you know, it's always, oh, I love you, give him a hug. He gave me a kiss on my cheek one time. When I proposed to my wife, that was the first time he ever gave me a kiss on the cheek. But I'm always kissing my kids on the forehead, giving them a hug, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just want them to I always want them to know that I love not just my word, but with my actions as well. I don't just.
That's because you're a good dad. The bottom line is, man, and this isn't to throw shade at like the generation before us, but like my dad was told not to like show any affection towards anybody and all that. That didn't teach me a fucking thing. It just made me jaded against his dumb ass.
Mm-hmm.
What, you know, and so what I've done is very similar with you is I just, you know, tried to treat my kids as best I can. I try to laugh with them. You know, when I'm mad, they know it. And I need to, you know what I mean? I don't hide who I am from them. To me, you know, as a family, we should grow together. And it sounds like that's kind of a similar philosophy to what you have.
Yeah, once I heard him out, I learned where it came from, because I remember he can talk for like, well, I can talk too, but he can talk for like 3 or 4 hours at a time. And I learned one time, he said he had never heard his mom, my granny, tell him he loved him. Or like he was like, I know she loves me, but she never said those words, and she's never said, I'm proud of you. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
Same way with like my mom's my granny on my mom's side. I was always wondering why she never got married. You know, she has 3 kids, but she never got married, and for a while I kind of resented her for it, because I felt like if you would have got married, she would have set my mom and my uncles up in a better situation, and then that would have hopefully trickled down to us, because I feel like we're figuring out life from scratch. Sure, but right. I sat down and talked to her, and she was just spilling her heart to me. She said the reason she never got married because she saw her dad beat her mom all the time. He would come home drunk and beat her all the time. So she said, if this is what marriage was, I don't want it. Yeah. So then once I heard that, I was like, all those negative feelings I had about her, I was able to let those go, because I understand that it's coming from a place of pain or hurt or just an absence.
I wonder.
There's a lot of that.
I wonder if that's part of our cultural problem right now too, because we've been trained that marriage is a bad thing. We've been trained that, you know, that what you do when you get married is that, like for men, we're told we stop having sex. And, you know, so why would you want to do that? You know, those kinds of things. And I wonder if that was kind of the beginning of that transition, because before, like our parents' people, you know, like before the 1900s, you know, the family was everything. You didn't, you know, you lived with your family. There wasn't anything else, you know, little house on the prairie shit going on. So I wonder if that has been part of a cultural, like breakdown of the family in general. What do you think?
I think that's part of it. There was, I don't know, like there were families around where I grew up. Like I don't think it was ever, you know, denigrated. It's more worse in this generation now. And like that's why I also like, you know, the whole my ball and chain and the TV had a big problem to do with it because at first when you had families that were, you had your Cosbys and whatnots, even like Martin, they were working to get married, Fresh Prince. But now it's a whole thing of hoe culture, and that's what people see as good. And so that's what they're going after. But so that's also why on social media I try to post more about my family, is because I want to be, I don't know how much of a light it can be, but I want to be a light to people around me, or at least people that, come across my stuff. That's why my wife is my tag. Me and my wife is my tag, not tag, pinned tweet on my page. Because I want you to know that's what I take pride in, family and marriages, things like that.
That's great.
I think my dad had a similar experience. Like his mom, or not his mom, his dad never showed affection or anything like that. And it's kind of interesting to see how that stuff, I guess it can go one of two ways. Like you can either see that and just be like, well, I guess this is how it is, and then keep perpetuating that. But then a lot of people respond with like, I don't want to do that to my kids. I want to show my kids, I want my kids to know that I love them and all that. And so you see that a lot. I don't know that happens the opposite way. I don't know that if you start the cycle of like showing them that you love them and being that calming force, that real dad energy that you're supposed to have, I don't know that if you do that properly, that you have that negative downstream where some kids can be like, you know what? Fuck that guy. I don't want to be anything like him. You know what I mean? Like it's, if you do the right things, it tends to be like a legacy that you leave that carries on for generations. And it usually takes some sort of trauma. Something happens to somebody. Like there's some of that where like some of these older men, like we don't know, this wasn't the case with my dad's dad, but there are some of them that like they went to war or whatever, whatever kind of stuff that they brought some shit back with them that they're just not the same, and they don't know how to do that. Or it got broken in them. And so it's just, but it's all, as you look at this stuff, it's all just like an indication of how broken like humanity is, and like how that cycle kind of perpetuates itself until someone does like what you're talking about and breaks that and reverses that cycle and says like, I'm going to fill that void that I have in me. I'm going to make sure that my kids don't have that void.
So I have a question for all the fathers on the screen. Would be, how would you know that you are enacting on all the proper traits of a father, and sometimes not over pushing it or sometimes undercutting what you should be doing, as in certain like disciplinary tasks or showing the amount of like affection or a necessary amount of affection and things of that nature? How do you go about that?
Dick,
you want me to go first?
Yeah. You're the guest of honor. You have to go first every time.
All right. Well, some people think you can love your kids too much. I don't believe that. I don't believe we'll ever show enough love. But I do think people consider overprotection as love. And I think what they do is they don't, instead of protecting your kids from the world, you need to prepare your kids for the world. So that's what I intend to do with my kids too. One, I show them, the love that I felt like I did receive, but also you don't hide it. I'm trying to figure out the way to phrase this, but you let them know, okay, this is the way the world goes. So this is the way I would like you to move. Because like I said, I'm a Christian. So I didn't have a good father figure. So I had to learn I had to learn from scratch from the Bible. I had to learn how to be a man from what I learned from the Bible. I said, okay, this is how, Jesus moved. Okay, I'll move that way. This is what Paul said a husband should be. All right, this is what I'm going to do. It says, this is how you raise your children. So that's how I learned. I was like, all right. And I'm pretty sure I'm not pretty sure. I'm 100% sure I'm not going to get it right. 100% right. But I won't let my mistakes or my perceived flaws like hold me back. Like they be like, oh, I messed up. I don't want to dwell on that. If I like get too loud or felt like I came at my kids the wrong way or my wife, and even if they didn't let me know, I'm gonna go and be like, okay, I was out of pocket right here. Or if they came to be like, you made me feel some type of way, then let's sit down and talk about it.
Okay.
100%. And don't, Nicco, don't think that this isn't a learning process. One of the things that Duke just said is he said, you know, that he's not saying that he's doing everything right, blah, 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 all that. Absolutely true. I've got 4 kids, 3 of which are adults. And I learn new shit from Anya, my youngest, all the fucking time. It's a continual learning process to be a dad. All you have to do is love and pay attention. But don't discount. Like, for instance, I'm going to use an example. I'm not going to use an exact example because I want to embarrass him. But my son brought me the task I think it was this past, maybe 2 Fridays ago. And he said, Dad, there was something I was playing with him with. I was just teasing. It's an event that happened at our house for like years ago, and it happened with my friend Michael. And I was giving Raven shit about it. You know, I was like, hey, you know, you did this and that and the other thing. And he was like, he didn't say anything at the time because Michael was there, other people were there, the whole family was there. He didn't say anything to me at the time. But a couple weeks ago, he said, Dad, you know, you really hurt my feelings bringing all that stuff up. I didn't lie to you at the time because I had believed Michael over him. And he said, it really hurt my feelings. And you said it in my house. And I went, oh, shit. Well, you know, I still, and to this day, I still think he was a little full of shit at the time. I think we have different memories of the event. But right. But I learned, you know what? My son is 27 years old. He's a man. And I don't need to disrespect him in his house, and telling a story that embarrasses him in front of his kids is not the way that I need to go. So of course I apologized and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that, blah, blah, blah. But my point is we continue to learn. Being a father isn't something where you checked all the boxes. All right, I'm on to whatever. Every single day I learned something new.
That's why Duke appropriated that great Vanilla Ice lyric and changed it a little bit when he said, stop, calibrate, and listen. No, anyway. No, but it is like that. And it's funny. It's probably not a proud moment for me because knowing what I know, is that beard real? Brody's a fool, man. Which one?
That's what I was about to type.
All 4 of us has a beard. Mine is the most well trimmed and manicured.
Mine would
Marcus and Duke are going for the best Santa Claus beard. Duke, you'd have to because Marcus is old and gray now. They're all real,
right?
And they're spectacular. But we've got all kind of references here. No, so my dad and I went on a fishing trip one time, and I mean this was not that long ago, like 20 some odd years ago or something like that. So I was an adult already, but like I grew up living in the city, but I had like this hybrid country city life where I lived part of my life in the country. My dad and mom were from the country, and so we'd spend a lot of time there and everything. So I learned how to hunt. I was shooting a 12 gauge shotgun when I was 11 years old, but we never went fishing a whole lot. Okay, all right, if you say so. All right. You missed, Darren. You're gonna have to rewind. The racism was the first half hour of the show. It's all been fatherhood and relationship shit since then. But anyway, you know, we'd never fished that much, and so we're on this fishing trip, and like we're spending the night at the fishing camp. We're going first thing in the morning, like before daybreak, and going and getting fresh shrimp, and we're gonna fish with these fresh shrimp and everything. So we're setting up our shit the night before, and I'm sitting there trying to put like, a weight on my line and put the hook on and everything. And my dad is like making a joke because it's a bunch of other dudes around us, and he's like cracking on me. Like, you don't know how to, put a hook on the line. And I was like, that was my opportunity, because he's cracking on me in front of a bunch of people trying to embarrass me. And I mean, he was just playing with me, but still, it's like, so I was just like cracked back. I was like, well, that's what your dad's supposed to teach you when you're growing up. But,
Oh, there you go.
So I kind of hit him with the crackback block. And he didn't like that. Like, his face just kind of changed. And I was like, oh, damn, that's probably too much. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said it like that. But so we talked about it later. But anyway, now, my boys fish off our back porch, and they catch like big bass and everything. And they know how to do their own shit. And a lot of it they taught themselves, because I'll let them, I showed them a couple of things, and then I was just like, y'all go do it. When it's time to get that fish off the hook, I'll come help you get it off and everything. But they got to the point where, like, I didn't go, take 15 fish off hooks for them. They figured out that, like, some of them, when it's like hooked up and it's all like behind they find some wild ass ways to get that hook buried in their damn mouth. And so you got to get creative with how you get it out. Pliers and gloves and all kind of shit. But anyway, that was one where I think when he listened to me, he came to me and talked to me about it later. And I apologize for, like, doing that the way I did it in front of everybody. But I kind of was in my feelings. I'm not gonna lie. When he said it, the way he said it, I was like, damn, man, you clowning me in front of all these people, and you're the one who's supposed to teach me this shit? What the hell? But we have a really good relationship now. And there's a lot of stuff where he's in his 70s. I'm almost 50, and I still go to him and I'm like, hey, all right, so here's a new one. I have never experienced this. What do I do when I do, when this happens? And just use his wisdom to my advantage, because that's what, that's one of the reasons he's there is to, while he's here, because I hear a lot of people talk about, they lost their dad 20 years ago or something like that, and they wish they could ask their dad that kind of shit. I'm like, well, I'm sure as hell going to ask him about it. But my son came to me. There was a thing where he got himself into a little bit of trouble, and he realized it, and he did the right thing after that, but he learned a tough lesson. And we were in the car at one point, and he's like, hey, before we get out, can I talk to you for a minute? And I was like, yeah. And so he just like broke it down for me about how, like, he appreciated how he knew that I could have, like, just gone off on him because of what he did, and how, like, it could have been a lot worse than it was, and whatever else. And he's like, but I appreciate the fact that you, like, I know that I've learned from this, and I know what I need to do better, but I appreciate the fact that you didn't just, like, you knew how I felt bad about it, and you didn't, like, double down and just, like, make me feel like shit about it. And I know that, and I'm constantly calibrating my relationship with them, but I'm also constantly calibrating them, because, like, they're still in their formative years. My daughter's 20, my sons are 17 and 14, and they're still learning some stuff. And it's just like little simple shit, like, hey, this morning it hadn't rained in like 6 months or something. Hey, when you go to school this morning, be careful, because it just started raining and the road is super slick right after it starts raining, because all that oil kind of rises to the top. And so just, you can't make that turn that you can make when the road's dry. you gotta take it easy. So I was just give those little reminders, because it's just little simple shit like that that's what keeps them from, like, sideswiping somebody, and then I'm getting a phone call 15 minutes after they leave to go to school about how I got to come see about a wreck, Right. So it's just those little bitty things, but doing it in a way where they know that you love them and respect them. And you, like, he told me one time, he was our weed eater. he had to change the wire on it, and he couldn't get it done, and he brought it in to me, and he's like, he didn't tell me then, but he told me like a few days later. He's like, I spent 45 minutes trying to get that thing done without having to come to ask you, because you have no idea how humiliating it was for me to have to come to ask you. And I was like, I got you, man. It's all good. Like, you don't. He's like, no, but it's not. I know you weren't going to say anything. He's like, but I feel like I should be able to do it by myself, you know? And so it's just little shit like that. But he had gotten it in a bind where like I didn't even like I fought with it for 20 minutes after he brought it to me. So it wasn't like it was some easy shit, you know? But anyway, it's just that's the, to answer your question, Nicco, that's the life of being a parent. Is there is no book that you can read that can prepare you for every scenario, because all of these little independent, unique human beings are going to throw shit at you that nobody's ever seen before. And at the same time, that has already been seen a million times over. It's like, it's this weird dichotomy of like, it's both at the same time. It's some shit nobody's ever done before, and also it's some shit that has been done a billion times. Because it's a pattern, but it's like, oh,
it's just different now.
How the hell did you get the hook into your brother's Achilles tendon? All right, you know, that hasn't happened, but I'm just saying, like, it's some weird ass shit where you're like,
yeah, like
I don't think anybody's ever done that before.
How'd you end up in this?
And so, yeah, so the answer to how do you deal with that is you take whatever you know at that point and apply it to the best of your ability, and you're gonna fuck up, and you learn from your mistakes too, and you just keep going. That's it.
So, but Duke, I think that one of the things that you've talked about in this interview, as it goes towards like solving the world's problems, if you will, and we talked earlier that we're not really here to talk about solving the world's problems, but I think that this is how we solve the world's problems, is by taking every moment to build family. This is why these evil institutions want to tear down the family unit, is that, you know, one of the things that we just talked about is, you know, teaching our children into the next generation, showing them the things that I fuck up about, my kids won't repeat, but they sure in the hell will repeat the things that they did right. And because of that, because I have a good relationship with my children, it sounds like you have a good relationship with your children. That's how we heal the world. You know, I put 4 new people into this world who have an understanding of what it means to be a good person. And so that's 4 people from me, you know? And so I think that if we understand that responsibility for our families, then we can, all this, you know, if people were concerned about their family instead of what's going on in Gaza, people were concerned about, you know, their family instead of who's going to be the next top psychopath in the United States, then we would be able to live our lives and teach the good things to our children, because ultimately I think most people, even the evil shitbags, just want their family to live in a better place.
Facts.
So we're starting to get on to an hour. Duke, what kind of ideas do you want to kind of leave our audience with?
Yeah, I don't know. I am not an intellectual. I'm just a regular old guy. And let me see. Ideas, man. Love, you know, just something simple, something cliche, you know, love God, love family, man. That's really it's simple. It's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. You know what I mean?
Facts.
It's and then if you do, I believe if you do those 2 things, you know, everything else just falls into place. Because once you learn once I learned how to love God correctly, I learned how to love my wife correctly. And then once I learned how to love her correctly, I learned how to love my kids correctly. Then it moved on to where you learn to love your family, the ones you know. Family, because family they'll hurt you. It's just the way of the world. But you learn how to, you know, look past that. You see the flaws in them, but realizing hurt people, and then you learn to show grace. Grace is very important. You know what I mean? Because God shows grace to us as well, even when we done messed up. So it's just learning to show grace, forgiveness, stuff like that, love, and not just love as in a word or like a feeling, but as an action. Like I can say I love you all day long, but if I'm not showing it, it don't amount to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that you know, I don't know if that answers your question, but that's the best I can.
Works for me, man.
Yeah. So
all
right. So let me ask you this: the Falcons suck. So
yes.
who of these quarterbacks are you hoping that they end up landing in the first round? Because there's going to be like 7 that are like this might be one of the best quarterback classes that we have in a long time coming out this year. So what's your thoughts on that? I know I threw a complete curveball to everybody, but I just I'm interested because I'm looking at it from the standpoint of like as a Saints fan, like I want the Saints to end up with. It'd be cool if they ended up with Jaden Daniels. That would be really cool to keep him in Louisiana again. But I don't know. What do you think?
I like Jaden Daniels. He's really surprised. Well, not really. He did what I said he was going to do. Except the defense sucks so bad. But I like Buddy out of Washington. I can't remember his name at the moment. Michael Penix Jr. Yeah, I love him. I've been watching him probably like 3 or 4 games because their games are late. I don't want to stay up till 12 o'clock to watch a game, but I like his game a lot. He reminds me of a better DTR. You remember from UCLA last year?
Thompson Robinson, yeah.
Yeah, he reminds me of him, but more well polished. Dorian Thompson Robinson, yeah. He reminds me of him, but more polished. I like him.
Yeah.
And with Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier and Drake London and Kyle Pitts, it'll make the offense more dynamic. So that's what I think. That's my hope. But they got to fire the coach first.
Yeah, I know. I saw you going off on him. Oh gosh, man, that's well. The Saints got to fire theirs too. I don't know. Maybe Jimbo Fisher's coming available out here. So that's always a good one. But no, I had to throw a little sports flavor into there because I know you're are you a Georgia fan too, or?
Oh, I'm a big Georgia fan. I'm a bigger Georgia fan than that. Yeah, I want a Georgia G on my tombstone.
Maybe Tyler and I will have to have you come on to because we got a couple of Ohio State guys who come on sometimes with our show that we do on. We call it the South End Zone. It's me and him, and I'm an LSU diehard. He's a Georgia diehard, but we basically just talk shit about how great the SEC is, and then hopefully we see if we meet each other in the SEC championship. But it looks like the hope is all on you guys. Just don't let Alabama win it. That's all I gotta say.
Oh no, we about to 3-peat.
There you go. I'll take it. I'll take that over Alabama winning ever again any day. At least y'all aren't douchebags about it. So, but anyway, but no, look, I really appreciate you coming on, and I sorry everybody for how long it took us to get on. We were trying to get it to where we had like the best user experience possible for Duke to come on, but we had to just spring his phone up and do it that way.
Yeah.
But
sorry.
My apologies. It worked great. No, it's not your fault. The technology is technology. So we just we'll get it right next time. So, but we appreciate you coming on. And I don't know if you got anything else, anything you want to promote or anything like that. If you have any special links or some charity that you believe in or anything like that you want to plug, now's the chance.
Yeah, I don't have anything at the moment. I'm working on a few things, but it's not ready to put out there. I appreciate you guys for having me. Had a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
Nicco, you got anything to add?
Black people are amazing, and I'm appreciative that you are one of us.
Look, hey, maybe y'all can find out. Maybe y'all can find out that the ancient Egyptians were invented being on time for shit, and you get back to your roots. And hey, I was saving that one up. That was that was loaded in the back.
Other than that, nah, he spat the truth. Follow your God and whatever God you reside in, as long as it's not a murderous, thieving, or degenerate God.
In other words, the state.
Take care of your family. and just strive for prosperity. Do what you need to do for yourself and those around you, and therefore it will spread and everything works symbiotically.
Yeah.
So
yes, indeed.
Right on. Well,
yeah, we
Duke,
appreciate
again,
everybody for coming out, and appreciate
For
Duke
sure.
for joining us as well. Yeah.
and
I'm sorry, Marcus.
it's okay. And as Chad said, thanks for joining us, and everybody stay free.
and black.
Or do white people stuff. One of the two.
Hey, look, it's let's just all appropriate everything, and then it'll all just be people stuff. There we go.
For
Yeah,
sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Peace, y'all.